Today we're going to break out the leatherworking tools as we make these two handmade leather belts. I'm Jeff, you're watching Home Built Workshop. Stick around. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. I hope you're doing awesome. It's leatherworking day here at the shop. I need to make a new belt for my daughter. This one here is one that I made her about 2 years ago, and it's worked well. But if you know anything about kids, well, they're always growing. So this one doesn't fit anymore, and we need to make a little bit bigger one. I got a piece of veg tan leather here I think is gonna work great for this project. My first step is really gonna be just to figure out where I need to take this blank from. I think it's gonna be just long enough if I cut the strap out of this diagonal portion here. This piece of leather has been sitting around a while. It's just a little bit dried out, but I think once we get it re-oiled, it's gonna be fine. It's about a 8 ounce or so, not super heavy, but for what we're making it for, it's gonna be just fine. I'll use a straight edge and a utility knife to first get a nice straight edge along this piece of leather. I need the straight edge to start with so that I can use a strap cutter to cut a couple of belt blanks. I'm cutting out 2 belt blanks because I need 2 different belts for 2 different applications. I'm going to reuse the buckle and the hardware from the original belt, so we'll pull that off real quick. This is super easy because I use Chicago screws to attach it. Whoa, I almost lost it. With the hardware removed, I'll use the old belt as a template to mark out the hole locations for both the screws and the buckle. This is just a matter of lining up the 2 pieces of leather and tracing the locations using a sharp awl. Originally the holes for this belt are right here, but we did test fit this one and I punched a new hole so that I knew where the fit was good. I'll just mark out that hole. Once I know where the hole that fits is going to be, then I'll set my wing dividers to 1 inch and mark out a new set of holes. With the belt basically laid out, now I can start doing a little bit of cutting. I'll begin by cutting the end mostly round with a utility knife. Then I'll use a hole punch and punch the different holes that give you the adjustment. And finally I'll use a slot cutter to cut a small slot. This is where the buckle is going to be poking through the end of the belt. So that really doesn't take all that long to rough out the blank. Now there's still quite a bit of work to do. I need to trim off this end as well, but I want to have the keeper and the buckle and everything in place so that I know exactly where to cut this off. I want to leave it long enough so that it can still fit inside the keeper and not be flopping around. So now I guess we need to make us a keeper. In case you're wondering, the keeper is just this little strip here that is used to tuck the end of the buckle in once you fasten it. I've readjusted my strap cutter to cut a 1/2 inch wide strip. That's what we'll be making the keeper out of. To determine the length of the keeper, we know that it's going to basically have to go around 2 layers of leather, so I'll just double the belt blank over and wrap my keeper piece around it, and I can just mark off where I need to cut it to length. And that size looks like it's going to work great. The only thing left to do is really to determine the final length. I'll just do a quick mock-up and check the fit of everything, and that'll tell me about where I need to trim the end. That length is going to be perfect. All I need to do is round over this edge. To try to cut a nice clean curve can sometimes be a bit challenging. To make that a little bit easier, I'll just slice the corners off a little bit at a time, which leaves kind of a hexagonal type shape. I think that's a technical term. Once that's complete, it's really easy to make it round with a little bit of sanding. Next up, it's time to bevel the edges using an edge beveler. I don't really know what it is exactly about this process, but for me, I really enjoy this step. There's something really satisfying about this entire process. Maybe it's the little thin spaghetti-like shavings that come off the leather. Maybe it's the sound that it makes. I can't really explain it, but I really do enjoy this step. With the edges beveled now, believe it or not, we're going to do some sanding. Even in leatherwork, we can't get away from the sanding. Now, since this is one layer of leather, it can kind of be hard to hold while you're sanding. So one way that works pretty good is to just lay it down kind of on the edge of your table or your workbench or wherever you're working, and then you can use that to kind of help hold everything flat. I've also seen some jigs where people have just kind of sandwiched the leather between a couple pieces of wood, and I imagine that probably works really well, but for now, I'm just going to use the edge of the table. I'm not trying to sand very much at all. The main goal is really to try to just get the edge nice and smooth before we burnish it. The reason we burnish the edge is because when you cut leather, the end grain, if you could call it that, is open leather, and really it's a good place where moisture and dirt and grime and lots of contaminants can soak into the leather. By burnishing it, we're basically sealing it up, which prevents moisture and other things from getting in there. There's a lot of different ways you can burnish the end, and really you need to try a bunch of different ones to figure out the method that you like. Here, I'm just using some water and a burnishing wheel that mounts in my drill press. With all of the edge treatment done, it's time to glove up, and we're going to dye these pieces now. I only have one glove, so hopefully I don't get too covered. Shake well before using. Are you supposed to shake it? It's fine, it doesn't say. I'm going to dye the back as well, just so that colors blend in a little bit better. This is the rough side, so it's a little tricky to dye, but we'll just be patient and probably have to do a couple of coats. If I was building this not knowing that I was going to have to remake it again in a year or two, I would double this up so that I had a finished piece of leather on both sides of the belt. But for this application, it's going to be fine. Plus, we're going to seal this anyway, so I'm not worried about any of the dye rubbing off or anything like that. Once the dye is dry, now we need to seal that in because, well, we don't want it rubbing off on any clothes or anything like that. To do that, I like to use tan coat. It's super easy to apply. We're basically going to wipe on a coat, and as soon as it starts to tack up, which in the environment here really only takes a minute or two, then we'll just lightly buff it off, and it smells awesome. I still can't quite tell what it is, but it's like peppermint or spearmint or something like that. I don't know, it smells really good though. And hopefully you can see, it does give the leather just a slight glossier finish, which I kind of like. Another thing that's really cool about tan coat is that it seals the leather, but also you're able to go back later and apply oil. It'll let oil through. I don't know how that works, but the leather's sealed and you can re-oil it, which is pretty cool. Now I think we're at the point where we can punch a couple holes in the end of our keeper, and stitch that together with a little piece of thread to make it a loop. I'm using waxed thread in sort of a saddle stitch to sew this together. Since this piece is so small, it's kind of tricky to do a true saddle stitch there, so maybe I'll call it a modified saddle stitch. Whatever we're going to call it, I'm not at all concerned that it's going to come apart. Now at this point in the build, I could put the buckle on here and this thing could be put to work as is and it would work just fine. However, it looks a little bit plain. We need to do something about that. On the belt that we're replacing, you can see that I've added a decorative stitch all the way around the outside edge. And I really like that look, but I don't have a sewing machine, and this was stitched by hand, and it took hours to get all the way around there. I really don't want to do that this time around. You can also see on this one that I've added some spots on here in a little pattern. I think I want to do something similar to that. So I've rounded up a bunch of hardware and different spots and things that I have, and I think we can put together some sort of a cool decorative pattern to spruce up this plain brown piece of leather. After consulting with my daughter as to what she would like to have on her new belt, I think we've got a plan. To lay it all out, I placed a piece of blue painter's tape on the back side of the belt. Then I used a compass to scribe a center line down the middle of the leather. From there, it was just a matter of measuring and marking out the locations where I wanted to put all of the shiny decorations. Now I can punch the holes where I'm going to install the rivets. I'm going to use these little turquoise rivets in those holes that I just punched. With the rivets all in place, the caps are on, now we just need to set the rivets. You can do this with a hand tool, but I'm going to use this modified arbor press that has an insert specifically made for setting rivets. These are basically a double cap rivet, which consists of the rivet itself and then a cap which gets crimped onto the back side. This rivet setter crimps the cap onto the back. Voila! With the rivet set, I can now switch out the attachments for one used to install spots. Now, if you've never worked with spots before and you're wondering, what in the world are spots? This is a spot. Now, this is a larger size than what I'm going to be installing on this belt, but it's a little easier to see. It's just a little decorative piece. A lot of times they're shiny like this, but they come in lots of different materials and shapes and sizes. They have two little prongs on the back that gets pushed down into the leather, and then those little prongs get crimped over, holding it in the leather. They're not structural, and they're used purely as decoration. They're really fun to try to figure out different ways and different patterns you can make with these things. Really kind of fun to work into your project. You can set spots by hand. It's really not that hard. You just make a couple of holes that line up with the prongs on the spot. Using this spot setter makes it super quick. You just load the spot into the setter and push it down into the leather. It automatically crimps the prongs over and you end up with a nicely set spot. After setting the spots though, I do like to go back with a ball peen hammer and just make sure all of the prongs are neatly folded back into the leather and nothing is sticking up where you could get poked. With the rivets and spots all in place, now I can install the buckle for the final time. I'm using Chicago screws to install this buckle. I like to do that because it makes it much easier to make changes later on if I ever need to. If I were to use a regular rivet, well, that would work great for now, but if I ever needed to make a modification, it's a lot harder to remove a rivet than a regular Chicago screw. After a coat of oil, our belt is ready to be put to work. And remember that second strap that I cut? I made a second belt exactly the same way as I made the first one, just has a little bit different pattern on some of the decorations. And this one will feature one of the trophy buckles that my daughter won at one of her horse shows. She'll be able to switch back and forth depending on what class she's in. These are gonna work awesome for her next round of events. So I hope you enjoyed this fun little leatherworking project. I know I really enjoy making things out of leather, especially stuff like this that I know is gonna get used. And if you've been putting off trying leathercraft, maybe it's something you've been wanting to do, I would highly encourage you to just go get a few pieces of leather. Or if you wanted to make something like this, you can buy just the blanks. My local leather shop sells belt blanks. You can just go buy them, maybe some hardware, and bam, you get yourself a cool handmade belt. Really a fun project. Give it a try if it's something you've been wanting to do. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.